So in the finale of the first half of Sandman season 2, which is episode 6, there's a brief gap here before we get to episode 7 through the rest at the end of this month. This is definitely a finale of sorts, but it's leading up to something really, really big. The prophecy that they talked about at the very beginning of the episode comes back around at the end of this, and so we're getting set up for something that's happening in the next half of this season. I'm going to spoil the whole thing here, so if you haven't watched the episode yet, you need to go watch it, then come back, and you'll be up to speed with where you need to be, because I don't do spoiler free. You've had your only warning on this. So knowing at the end of the last episode that he has to go see his son, right? Um, that is the big ask here is that he has to go meet Orpheus for the first time in thousands of years. But part of this episode is flashing back to 1794 during the French Revolution when Dream approaches Lady Johanna Constantine, who is an ancestor of John Constantine. And he gives her a task to retrieve Orpheus's head, which has been stolen from the temple in Greece, and for some reason is in France, where it was considered to be like a national treasure. Um, I, I kind of vaguely remember her. I can't remember if she was in the first season or not. Maybe in one of the episodes. I really don't remember. I feel like she was. Her character is awesome. Of course, she's an adventurer, a smuggler. She's John Constantine's ancestor. Everything you would expect a Constantine to be. And so there is this like really beautiful period piece set during the French Revolution between her and Orpheus, and this sort of relationship that they build, where she sort of, I don't want to say that she falls in love with him, but she definitely develops feelings for him because of his situation. And she ultimately completes the task that Dream gave her, which was to escort Orpheus back to the island to the priests. And when she comes back and it's time to discuss the payment for her services, and Dream asks her what she wants, she says, "Well, maybe some more time with Orpheus might be nice." And from there we get transported back to the modern times, and you see Morpheus and Delirium arriving at the island, Dream and his sister arriving at the island of the oracles, and you see a tombstone that shows Johanna's birth and death. So she died on the island, spending time with Orpheus, and this is the first time that he has seen his son in a very long time, and it's a very emotional meeting. But that also leads them to realizing, um, so he does get Dream does get um, Destruction's location from his son in exchange for the boon. The boon is, you need to kill me, Dad. And this is going to lead to some big problems in the back half of the season because uh, the Endless are not allowed to spill each other's blood. That's like it's one of the very few commandments that they have is that they're not allowed to spill family blood. Um, what's really interesting here is that Destruction has been living this whole time for the past 300 years directly across on the other island, facing the temple, knowing full well that Dream would never come here because he made the promise years ago to never see his son ever again. Which leads them to having a meeting with Destruction. And it is a tense but ultimately joyful family reunion. There's a lot of discussion here um, by Destruction on the wanton nature of humanity to destroy themselves no matter what, and that no one needs to be guiding the reins when they're just always willing to destroy themselves. Quick commercial break, everyone, to celebrate and give thanks to all of these amazing people who keep me on the air full time. Really appreciate the support. All you got to do is join as a member. You get access to private videos. You can also do super thanks on any upload or super chats and stickers on any live stream or premiere you see. And beyond that, don't forget we're multi-streaming over on Twitch now, so you can support over there as well. Thanks so much to everybody. Let's get back to the video at hand. And he doesn't want to have any part in that. He just wants to be free of that, and he loves humanity. He wants them to live their own lives and not have him meddle with it. And ultimately he decides, after he's had this meeting with his brother and sister that he's abandoning everything for good. He takes his sword, he gives them his blessing, and he goes off into the universe and travels up into the stars. But not before assigning his trusty dog to his sister Delirium. And it was really funny when this happened because there's a moment when the dog is like, "Man, she doesn't need to be let off the leash by herself. So yeah, I guess I'll definitely go help her out and live with her." Um, they then basically, this is when we come back to Dream returning to Orpheus and having this really, really emotional moment, and then he ultimately kills his son as his son had asked. But they do reconcile at the very end, and he then goes back to his kingdom, and I think for the first time ever, maybe, Dream cries as he's scrubbing the blood off of his hand. He weeps in his chambers, and then the camera pans to black, and then we end up in the living room of the three fates, the kindly ones, and they are spinning yarn and having tea and biscuits. And uh, the younger of the sisters asks for one of the other ones to give her a fortune cookie and read the fortune, and it's the same fortune. It's the same prophecy that we heard about at the beginning, which is something along the lines of I'm paraphrasing here. I don't have show notes. Like a king will abandon his kingdom. Um, Lives, the battle for good and evil. It's going to come around again. It's going to happen again. And so something's about to go down. The king has abandoned his realm. So um, Chris thinks it might be Dream abandoning his realm again, but I think it's related to Destruction having abandoned his realm. Either way, um, something's about to go down. And the sisters then mention the fact that he has spilled family blood, and that is forbidden. And out come the scissors, and one of the sisters has been weaving this scarf out of Dream's thread of fate, and the elderly sister goes, and we get a fade to black, like an immediate snap to black, and that's the end of the episode. So we are left going, oh snap, what's gonna happen in the next episode? Because it's not gonna be good for Dream. Um, and some big battle is coming, and who knows what it's all going to be about. But I can't wait to find out. We have, I think, 4 more days until I think July 24th is when the next 5 episodes become available, and then the very final episode becomes available on the 31st. So at the very least, we'll have 5 new episodes here in a few days, which I will continue to review as they once they're out, and then at the end of the month we will wrap up season 2. So stay tuned for more. Like, subscribe, hit the bell icon so you never miss an update. Daily streams at 4:30, 5 a.m. Central on YouTube and Twitch for all the game stuff. And don't forget, you can check out all of the other movie shows and other things that I review here on the channel at your leisure. Till then, stay safe. Let me know your thoughts on this episode of The Sandman down in the comments below.